Hey y'all, it's me, your girl Vonnie, aka Lady V. And I am coming to you on a recorded podcast, um, A Long Walk in High Heels. If you have been following me, you know that this is a podcast. This platform is for women and the men who, but we are mainly dealing with women and women's issues. And if I'm all the way honest, who gets lumped in there? The men, our babies, our jobs, our friends. So that's what this is. This is a podcast for women and our issues and the things that we really that we care about basically. Um Long walk in high heels, I've already explained that. We've all done that. We all can relate. And that's what I want to use this platform for us to relate to one another. To yeah, just to come together and relate to one another. So, welcome. And today's episode, I talk about not gonna hold you long. Talk about parenting, and more specific, our roles as almost teachers. Um, in our role, um, because we know we are our children's first teachers. I am the mother of two adults. Remember when my son, when the concerns came home from school that he was not, he's not there, he's not here. And it was a shock to me because I was just going about, his education just la di da. All my kids, honestly, just la di da, thinking all was well. I don't think I necessarily was one of those parents that felt like it's the teacher's job to teach. We got, we know some of those people. Um, but I didn't think that he was struggling. Well, and it turned out it was less of not knowing and not caring. So once we figured that out and got that worked out, then then I was able to move him forward. And honestly, it's kind of stayed that way for him though. He's not interested, and he'll tell you to this day he just thought school was a waste of time. So but it stayed like that for him throughout his age, time, I guess, whatever. But what I really want to talk about is this. There are a lot of as a substitute teacher, which I am. I'm in a lot of schools, a lot of classrooms, and these kids are struggling, y'all. Bad, and it's almost scary. So I've subbed in some classrooms where in some schools that are, public schools, but they're the ones that get all the attention. They're the ones that get the funding. And but even there, the students are struggling. Some of the students, not all of them, but some of the students still struggle there. Maybe not to the degree where they're fourth graders and can't read, but maybe fourth graders reading on a second grade level, or you're a fourth grader, you're reading on a first grade level. So I've seen it all. I've seen a lot. I'll say that. I know I haven't seen it all, but I've seen a lot. And it's concerning. So as parents, because I am also a foster parent, and I realize that I have these kids' lives in my hands. First, initially it was like, oh, keep them safe and make sure you give them their basic needs and some experiences along the way, and they're great. No, it's not like that. Like actually being a parent all over again. I'm actually like I have to, and then it's almost even doubled because my littles in my house, and I don't really do littles. I really do the bigger ones, but they they come from neglect. foster kids too. Anybody, they come from a lot of neglect, like a lot of abuse. And so the need sometimes is even greater, where you have to sit and you're decoding words with a 12-year-old. And my challenge, this is a challenge, y'all. I'm challenging y'all. If you are a parent or if you are a grandparent, sit with your grandbaby, sit with your baby, see where they reading. And if you know for a fact, oh no, he's little John John, he can read, and he's a fifth grader. It's you know what, to make it free. There's this little spot on the internet called education.com, and you can get on there. You might have to, you might have to make an account, but it's okay. Make an account, pull down a fifth grade reading passage for free. See if or grade level, whatever his grade level is, third grade, fifth grade, first grade, whatever the grade level is. Pull down a passage for free. See if they got reading. See if they got comprehension. Is he still decoding? And that just means is he still sounding out words? Because it is, we need to know. That's what's important. That we do know, because once we know, I'm a believer that have part of the biggest part of solving a problem is realizing that you have one. So if you don't know you have one, just like I didn't with my son, then you don't fix it. You don't fix it. So that's my concern as a parent, as an educator, is where we are with these students. Um, I also want to talk about um, the foster care system, as I did say. So this is all about the kids today, y'all. So, as you know, I am a foster parent, and I don't want to talk about the kids. I'm not going to talk about the kids. I'm going to talk about the system. Uh, People have, I think if you've ever given the foster care system any kind of thought, people do one or two things. Oh, foster care system is whack. These foster parents just be on there for some money, or you think it's wonderful. Um, maybe you know somebody that's fostered, or a kid that's been in care, and turned out okay. So it's usually one or the other. It's and that just kind of is how it is. I really want to the foster care system. And actually it can be what they say. Two things can be true at the same time, and it really is that. As a foster parent who's been in it 11 years now, it really is. It's both things are true. Both things are true. Um, so I want to talk about the flawed side first, because I like the bad news first, and then the good news. The flawed side of the foster care system is um, caseworkers. So it's for those who don't know, a quick. So you have the state. The state takes care of the foster care system, which everything trickles down from federal, but the state takes care of the foster care system. So um, state of Texas, that's where I'm at. I'm in Texas. So the state of Texas is responsible, Department of Family and Protective Services, DFPS. Um, and then you have the foster. Then you have here in Texas, it's been the placing has been privatized. So you got the state who, let's say, remove the kid, and they investigate the removal. and then you have an agency that places that. So the agency says, "Hey, we got this kid that we need to go in a foster home." So then you have a placing agency that has foster parents. Okay, state placing placing agency. Uh, no, state, the contracted agency who places kids with another placing agency places them in a foster home. It's confusing. So you see why it's flawed. Okay, so we as foster parents really are the low on that pole. We come last. We're I'm where you want your I'm where the kid is gonna go, my house. But I'm the lowest on that pole. I come last. Um, which is wrong. Let me say that. When I am with a kid 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I'm the last person to speak in the room, that's a problem. Please understand that. That is a problem. And not that I should not, in no way do I feel like I want to be important, but where are you getting your information? Me, me. Um, but often I am the last one to be introduced. And the entire time on the call, I am foster mom, not Miss Yvonne, not Miss Sullivan. So I have now I'm going to backtrack the hierarchy. So I'm the foster parent. I'm where the kid lives. Kid lives with me. He eats, sleep, drink, get clothed, get his instruction, gets his discipline, gets his guidance from me. And then we have a case manager. And then that's with the agency, the placing agency. We have a case manager. And then you have a case worker who is being contracted by the state to place the kid with the placing agency. And then you have the state. The state is rarely like heavily involved because that they've contracted that work is privatized now. So that is up to the first placing agency. Okay. Um, I'm usually the last one to speak. Everybody goes around to be introduced. Um, but these people are the ones who are making the decisions about a kid that they barely know, that they see once a week for maybe 20 minutes. I'm sorry, that's wrong. I lied. They see once a month for maybe 20 minutes. The place and agency that I'm licensed through, sometimes they see the kid twice a month for 20 minutes, right? It's flawed. It is definitely flawed. Um, and then these kids are in a court system because there is some legalese that happens with foster kids. 9 times out of 10, it's some kind of case. Um, from the parent, from whoever standpoint, there's a case. It's legal. It's a legal case. This is a legally binding situation. Um, so the kid is has a lawyer. Um, the kid has a lawyer. Mom has a lawyer. So these are separate lawyers. And then there's the DA who says, yeah, no, don't need to be with mom right now. And it's a lot. So then you have, okay, all of these people making these decisions about kids that they haven't met. So the lawyer will come only when I hear from the lawyers when it's time to go to court and they need to touch in, they need to touch base or check in or whatever to so that they'll have something to say to the judge about a kid that the judge has never met. So the judge is relying on all of these other entities, the lawyer and the CASA, because that's a court appointed specialist, the lawyer, the CASA, the case manager, the case worker, never the foster parent, never me. They take my notes, what I say, and they run it to court. I don't want to go to court. I don't. I don't halfway want to know why they removed, but that's just me. That's me. I don't want to. I just don't. In the beginning, I used to, and then I noticed that now I got all of these ideas about this kid in my head, and like it or not, right or wrong, it can be an influence towards, yeah. So if I'm learning through paperwork and reading that, you will hit an adult, then I'm on guard all the time. I'm ready. So I want to know that. But that's what happens. All of this information that I'm giving is being ran to the court by all of these people who only see this kid once or twice a month because that's all they're required to do is once a month. Now, my agency that I foster for, they come twice if there's a kid in there with little, more basic, more that has a little more needs than just basic. They come twice. But these people who come once a month run the court, tell the judge what is. But you don't know what the what is. You don't know. How are you saying something when you like stop it? They go take the kid's concerns. The kid could have had a bad day. Oh, I don't want to be here, Miss Yvonne. She whatever, whatever. Foster mom is this, she's a bitch, whatever, whatever, because you didn't get new gym shoes that you wanted. Like whatever. Like so that's how the system is flawed. That's how the bad side of foster care gets portrayed and it can be rightfully so. I'm not saying always, but it can be rightfully so. Now, let me tell you about foster care. Foster care is calling for a foster parent. I'll say that. As a Christian woman, it is a calling. I will say that I know it's a calling because it's nothing that I would have chose. And if I had chose it, if I did chose, I would have been got out. But you get in and you get a heart for this. You get a heart for these kids and it's not instantly. It's not instantly. It wasn't for me. You get a heart for them. Once you start to learn what you are dealing with, and I'm saying what because I'm not saying the kid, I'm talking about the thing. And the thing, y'all, ooh, and it's been such a catchphrase. It's been such a hype word for probably the last 4 or 5 years. Trauma. Once you realize what you're dealing with these kids, because it's all trauma. It's all trauma. I said about the education system this past year, just kind of making a joke, not but not funny, not really a joke. It was the truth. I said the more I see autistic kids, I see autistic adults. Okay, and that's true. The more I see autistic kids, I see autistic adults. Um, I can be in a classroom, and the dynamics of a kid with autism are so almost beautiful because they run the gamut. They have to call it a spectrum. Do you know how far a spectrum stretches? Right. And we're talking about being on the oh, she's on the spectrum. Where? On the spectrum. Because that's the key. Like, for real? And it didn't used to be called just the spectrum. So there's this book out there, the DSM-4. No, it's five now. Five. DSM-5. Everybody's in it. Everybody is in that book. We all have our thing. We all have our whatever it is. People are like, oh, I'm OCD. Look it up. Oh, I do whatever. Look it up. Look it up. We're all in there. Um, I won't say, I've heard somebody recently say everybody's on the spectrum. I won't say that. I will say we're all in that book. And that book is not, it's called the Diagnostic DS. I'm drawing a blank. But we're all in that book. Um, so I brought that up to say this trauma. We all got trauma. Every single person. We all have trauma. The thing as a foster parent that I see with these small kids, younger kids under 18, is that they have probably been experiencing trauma at a more, I don't want to say rapid rate, but more often. See, we all have trauma. We all have childhood trauma that may not have occurred continuously, or it may have been one event. It may have been a big event. You know, it could have been a house fire that your dog died. It could have been that your dad left. It could have been that your mom left. It could have been one big event, or it could have been a reoccurring event, but just maybe one event. We all have it. We all have childhood trauma. Um, but this is the thing: kids in care, they have it too. They had the one, maybe it could have been one thing, but then they were removed. Now that's two traumas. Then you went to live with a stranger. Say your stranger wasn't nice. Uh, and say because you now dealing with four trauma. Say because you're now dealing with three traumas or four because your person wasn't nice and you didn't know how to handle that because you're already dealing with three. So now you're dealing with four, and now you start to act out, and then your stranger, because that's what close parents are. Your stranger said, "Oh, gotta go." So now you got to go to another stranger. That's five traumas, and that's how it happens. And then you see these kids who can't cope, can't deal because that's all it is. And they getting older. And they getting older. So now they 12 and you see them on the street, they cussing, they looking at you up and down, you scared, you clutching your purse. Trauma. But he was just with his mom last year. He trying to figure out what happened. What happened? Right? Um, I was talking about the nice side of foster care, and as you can see, but as foster parents, as a foster parent, speak for myself, it is my job to understand what I'm dealing with, and what I'm dealing with is trauma. What I'm dealing with is a kid with trauma, and it looks so, and I said amazing. It's not glorious, but it is so multifaceted that you cannot conceive it. You're not gonna understand it. You just need to understand what it is. And through trainings and some studying on my own and finding researching and all of that, been able to get a little bit of grasp of it. And it's just like for real, a little bit, because it's always something new. It's always a new kid, and his trauma ain't her trauma, and her trauma ain't his trauma. And what they could have experienced the exact same thing, exact same trauma, and come out two totally different with it. Like, and that's the backside of foster care. Um, I said it is amazing because to watch it unfold, though, to watch the therapist do his thing, to have people on your team that, and I'm speaking for me, I have people on my team that is there to guide and say, hey, this is what we need you to do this way, even down to like a script, okay, to help these kids, because it's not about me. It's not. It's not about me. It's about these kids. It's about the position that I've been put in, position that I'm in. I accepted it. I accept it, and I take it seriously. And the system is flawed. It is. It's flawed. It's flawed. Um, but the work is not. The work is not. The work is real. It's real work. Um, and I heard talking to a social work psychiatrist, social worker years ago in the emergency department. And she told me something I never forget, and I'll repeat it as many times as I need to, because this is what, when I say I see, the more I see autistic adults, the more I see kids with trauma. I see the trauma in adults as well. And this is what she told me about trauma, and I never forgot it. She said trauma can mimic psychosis. Did you hear that? Trauma can mimic psychosis. So when I look different. When I see somebody, you know how oh, look at her walking around on the street, walking around babbling, talking to herself. What kind of trauma you done had? See, that's where I go. And I ain't saying it ain't scary and something, things, because, y'all so deep. I might have to come back with this one. It's hard, it's deep, it's needed. And I'm talking about foster care. Good foster parents are needed. Good foster parents are needed because the system is flawed. System is flawed, y'all. So I'm gonna get off here. I'm coming back with this one though, because I think I got a person I want y'all to meet. She is a fellow foster parent. She is knee deep in the situation right now. She is lobbying for the system to change. and my fist is up with her, but I'm not. I haven't been all power to the people with her. I'm not stomping the way she's stomping, but she's definitely stomping. She's stomping for the system to change because it is flawed. So I might have to come back with this. I might have to come back with this one. The foster care system, a system that I love dearly, a system that I believe in. That we have these kids in that need us. And sometimes are the only, we are the good thing at the time. With an understanding that they don't want to be there. They don't want, like, they don't want to be in your, they don't want to be in my house. I don't care how good I am. I don't care how much love I pour on them. I don't care how many good things I do. I don't want to be in my house. They don't. I had a little girl tell me she was the oldest of 9. And I said, "Oh, but you got this and you got that and you got all of these things that I had provided for her." And she told me, she said, "I'd rather be at home sharing that little bed with my 3 siblings." So it was 4 of them to one bed. And even if it was a king size bed, it wasn't big enough. So, so that said it all for me. So, get out of here. Uh, we need parents. We need foster parents. We need some good foster parents. We need foster parents who gonna take to learn these kids and learn what they've been through and help them through it. And don't overexert yourself. Sometimes you know what? I'm coming back, y'all, because it's one thing always leads to another with me. One thing always leads to another. I'm gonna get out of here, but I'm gonna say this. I had a professor up at the University of Cincinnati. Her name was Meredith, my child development class. And one day we was all laughing, talking in class, ha ha ha, he. And we were talking about little Johnny. Everybody know little Johnny. We was talking about little Johnny. And I said, we can't save them all. Meredith said, but we better damn well try. And I need, like, that's where I come from. That's what I come from. I come from that when it comes to these kids. So I don't try to take that on. Because you have to know your limits. You have to have boundaries. I don't wear a cape. I don't put my S on my chest on every kid. I don't. Um, and sometimes you gotta let some of them go. You know, sometimes for the safety of the other kids in the home. Sometimes for your own sanity, you gotta say, I don't think so. Maybe he's not a good fit. He's not fitting well and he's not doing well. He's not adapting. He's not conforming. Not, I don't want to say conforming, but he's not adjusting well in the home. And you have to let him go. And that's okay too. But we better damn well try. I'm going to get out of here, y'all. This your girl, Lady V. A long walk in high heels, because that's what we take. Even just talking about these kids, the education system and the foster care system, talking about these kids that I love so much, so near and dear to my heart. I've been working with kids since 1993, 6, 6, 1996. So it's been 30 years. I left the University of Cincinnati. I was working at the University of Cincinnati. I left the University of Cincinnati and I started doing in-home childcare. 1996. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm coming back. This is something that's near and dear to my heart. I'm gonna try to bring on some guests. I gotta figure out how to work it, see who's available, but I definitely want to bring on again, she's a fellow foster parent, and she is thumping these grounds, y'all. She wants some laws to change, and I'm with her. I understand it. I'm with her, but she is making some noise. So I want to bring her on. If I can get her on here, and we're gonna go from there. So until next time, bye, y'all.